G'day, I'm Julian Oates, the Director of Art Mob Gallery here in Hobart. Welcome to a very interesting exhibition by Julian Oates. Julian is one of our local Tasmanian Aboriginal guys and started painting with us a bit over 5 years ago. This is his second solo exhibition called Quela's Eden. The painting behind me here is his masterpiece. It's the largest painting he's done to date. These works talk about something deep within his psyche called Quela, and I'll let him explain that to you sometime if you have the opportunity to meet him. To me, however, though, I have a strange background in various forms of science and technology, and these ring instant bells to me about DNA sequencing or chromosomal activity or viral invasions or perhaps some other bacterial nonsense going on. There's something quite deep and meaningful, and if you ask Julian about why he paints what he does, he struggles with trying to tell you that. Unlike most artists who have got a vision of what they want to paint and go ahead and paint it, Julian does it totally in reverse. He paints and then wonders why he's done it. He's a very fascinating young man, and this exhibition of his is an outstanding edifice to his oeuvre. Okay, number 10 in this exhibition is my personal favourite. Julian calls it Slight Guide. Now, I'm going to read you his description of it because it tells his story as to why he's painted it, and you may be able to recognise what he's talking about. He says this painting investigates the similarities that we have with our families. This includes our personalities, the way we do things, and the way we look. This piece is specifically about grandfathers and great-grandfathers. At the top of the painting, the large circle represents all of the past grandparents, and the smaller circle is me. There's Julian. The three dotted sections are all of their attributes and personalities. The top dotted lines coming off each of these sections on the right shows the time we're living in at the moment. The bottom dotted lines are when my grandparents existed. These are timelines of the past and present existing simultaneously. The solid dividing lines in between the dotted sections represents different times. So that's what he's done with this one. Now, it's probably no wonder that I like it, because I remember my grandparents very vividly. I never did meet any great-grandparents. But Julian can trace his parentage right back to Manalagenna, one of the early chieftains here in Tasmania in the early 1800s, prior, at least just after colonialisation here. So he comes from a fascinating background. This is part of the story. I'm going to give you a brief talk about these two works here. It's a diptych. One of my German clients commented when he saw one of Julian's works on the web that they remind him of Juan Miro, the very famous Spanish artist from Barcelona. And I think these perhaps are an example there that does resonate along that sort of line. Unlike Julian's other works, he's actually used a set of chisels to paint this pair of works. Typical flow of solid black work in both cases, but it's almost the mirror image. I think he's played with some very interesting artistry with these two. And now to finish the sequence, Julian's last exhibition, about 2 years ago, was a sellout. This one will be too, I'm sure. You'll recognise something a little bit like this. This is called Your Melody, and you can see perhaps some indications of musical scores here. And on the top here you'll recognise, and the bottom you'll recognise some melodic influence there, some music, and he's a pretty good guitarist actually. That's perhaps his forte before he got into his art. A little bit, he reckons, is sauce on a Subway sandwich. And these other sections here are perhaps a pathway to whatever's going on in your life. But look, his last show was certainly a sellout. His works sell sometimes moments after they arrive in the gallery, so do come in, grab these while they're hot.